We follow the narrative of what Anthony Joshua tells us, which is that he is a legacy fighter. We know that all roads lead to Undisputed, but Undisputed surely has to be the best fighting the best. And the best at this moment in time is not necessarily Anthony Joshua. In order to become the best, to make the Fury fight as meaningful as it once was, he has to redeem himself against Alexander Usyk. So what we seem to be in the territory, and commercial sense says don't do that because there's real jeopardy there, because if you lose to Usyk again, actually are you? So the commercial sense overtakes the reality of what we're looking as a boxing landscape. Now, it seems to be that Anthony Joshua, with all due respect to him, is negotiating as much money as he possibly can to not fight Usyk.
You know what's bad about all these interviews I see? I see certain interviews that quote what I said. I think to myself, I ain't done no interviews. Where did this person get this information from?
For me, I think because we've listened to Anthony talk about the fact that he is the best heavyweight, he will avenge and fight everybody. For me, the real fight is having to redeem himself against Usyk. But the challenge is I don't think he thinks he really can beat Usyk, or he's in a quandary as to the risk profile of fighting Usyk, losing to him again, and where does that actually leave him? So he gets to go round the houses and fight for an Undisputed when he isn't the best fighter.
So as it stands, stop listening to the bullshit until it comes from me. I'm the man in control of my destiny.
I'm ready to fight this weekend. I've been training 3 weeks. How long does a man need to train? Joshua's a coward. Usyk's a pussy, and Dylan Whyte don't want to fight.
Малыша, как водичка?
Ой, братец, ты знаешь, мокренькая. Хорошенькая такая. Отлично. Загораю.
So if you can prove me wrong, get to fucking fighting. You pair of cowards. You're all cowards. You're all bummed offers. Either fight or do one. You pack of wet lettuces. I'm just going to keep videoing until one of these cowards decide to fight.
So Fury don't want to fight Usyk, in my opinion, because he had the opportunity to do it through these discussions.
You're all cowards, shithouse bums. I don't care who I fight. AJ, Usyk, Dylan Whyte, or any of them. Fight me.
What Fury wants to do is have a little easy one in March. That's what he really wants to do. Now, he's going to have to fight Dylan Whyte. By the way, after all this kerfuffle, he'll get beat by Dylan Whyte. He'll get knocked out by Dylan Whyte.
I'm the best man that's ever lived. And these are all coward bumdossers.
But the reality is, when it really came down to it, he never wanted to fight Alexander Usyk. Because he could have gone straight into a fight with Alexander Usyk. But he didn't want to go straight into a fight with Alexander Usyk. But you won't ever hear that, and the public won't ever hear that. You'll just hear Fury on Instagram screaming and shouting with smoke and mirrors.
I'll annihilate the lot of yous and destroy yous. Submit yous. Tap you bitches out. Come and fight.
I'd like a scouting report, if you don't mind, on some of these heavyweights. You know, the memes or whatever they're called aside. What do you think of Anthony Joshua as a fighter?
I think he's a useless old dosser, Anthony Joshua. He got gifted a gold medal in London. He robbed the Cuban blind in the first fight, so he shouldn't have even got a medal. And then as soon as he stepped up a level, he got chinned. He tried to go over to America where the real fights are, and he got absolutely obliterated by a fat kid on 2 weeks' notice. So do I think he's a great fighter? Hell no, I don't think he's a great fighter. I think he's a useless bum. And then he fought a boxer half of his weight and a foot shorter than him and got outboxed and never even had the guts to go and take it to the man and try and win the fight. So yeah, if you think going into a boxing fight for the world heavyweight title is not even trying to win, then yeah, I'd give him that title of being a great boxer. But for me, he's a useless old bum.
In football, everybody has to play each other. That's a given.
True.
Why are you not fighting him now? How can you be told who to fight when it's the two best fighters? It's a fight that everyone wants.
So there's his side, there's her side, and then there's the truth. So we'll get to the truth, what my truth is. I come into this pro game as a young heavyweight, starting at the bottom. Fury and these guys are well advanced, well ahead of me. in terms of they were professionals when I first walked into the boxing gym. So when I first walked into the gym with Ben, these guys were already done their amateur career and they're pros. So when I done my Olympic thing quick and I turned pro, I'm looking at these guys like I want what they've got, and I've fought champion after champion, and it's just clear to see now with this last situation we face is like the 258 management, Matchroom, done a great job of putting on a potential show that was ready, signed to go ahead during the pandemic, which was a nice offer, lucrative offer, ready to fight. No qualms on my ends, I'm ready. And they bailed out on not only me, but the boxing world. Because this is the first time in 120 years or so that two British fighters would have fought for the Undisputed title. It was a legacy fight. And that's the only reason why it didn't happen, because they either wasn't organized on their side, Fury wasn't ready for the fight, I don't know what it is, but my truth, all I can say is that if you look at the history, the email trails, the conversations, we had the deal in place, we were the ones who found the venue, we were the ones who took the offer to them, and they were the ones who couldn't fulfill their end by just putting a signature on the contract.
So you don't think he basically was transparent at the beginning about what was happening?
Yeah, it's not a problem. If I'm not ready to fight, I say, look, guys, look, I'm going to be real with you. I want the Undisputed fight, but let me get past my mandatory challenger. Let me get past my rematch clause, and then I'm going to win, I'm going to do this for us, and I'm going to fight this Undisputed fight. That's just honest.
He won't get past Alexander Usyk in his next fight. His career's over.
What about Usyk? He's an Olympic gold medalist. He was a great cruiserweight, unified the titles. He moved up. He won a heavyweight title, at least a part of the heavyweight title. What do you think of Usyk as a fighter?
I think he's a good boxer. He's a very talented cruiserweight fighter, but I don't think he's no great shake. He's very hittable. He's small, he's light, he's not fast. I just think he's okay. He's a decent boxer. He looks like Muhammad Ali compared to old stiff ass there.
I hate to think what you're going to say about Dillian Whyte. I think he's a pretty good heavyweight contender. What do you think of your next challenger, champ?
I just think he's an average-looking heavyweight. 6'3", 245 pounds, slow feet, slow hands, average power. Talk about tailor-made for a gifted boxer like myself.
2 pointed Upton, so that'll give him a bit of energy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good night. It is all over in the 11th round. Dillian Whyte knocks Derek Chisora out after a thunderous battle.
Yeah.
I should chop him down like a big oak tree. Cut him down like cheese, really.
But I'm saying this, tell me a heavyweight that has a punch repertoire like Dillian Whyte in the world today. Look at his punch repertoire. You're thinking now, not you're thinking. Nobody has a better punch repertoire than Dillian Whyte. He puts them together really nice. I told him it's going to take about six to 5 fights before we're going to see the real Dillian Whyte as he merges with Mark Tibbs, who's a very, very good coach. And now we're seeing it. I was impressed. I don't care how bad people want to say, Lucas Brown was. We weren't saying Lucas Brown was bad prior to the fight.
Champ, you've been mentioned your activity in the past, how often you'd like to fight. At this rate, it looks like twice a year. Is that enough for you? Twice a year? Is that what the plan is?
We'll just get one fight away at a time. You know, I only go one fight at a time, never look past these opponents. And in this heavyweight division, everything can change at a drop of an hat.
The other champion, as you know, is Alexander Usyk, who defeated Anthony Joshua, was it about 2 weeks ago. What do you think of the two of them? I mean, the chances are right now that they could be the ones who, if not next, but they could end up fighting each other for the Undisputed.
He's not going to beat Tyson Fury.
Do you think Anthony Joshua can beat Alexander Usyk in a rematch?
I think he can, but I think he has to change some things. I think he needs to keep getting that mass off of him like he tried to do in the first fight. He showed us that he can make adjustments like what he did with Andy Ruiz. So I don't think we can count him out. I know people are writing him off, but that's what people do in boxing. You know, I was going back and forth with another person the other day. Just, you know, they were talking about how Anthony Joshua doesn't have any heart. And I'm like, bro, you don't get where he got as an amateur and as a pro not having heart.
We have a fight on our hands, and sorry to the governing bodies, that eclipses all belts. And we just got to be a little bit careful, because you may be on the verge of going, do you know what? Let's just get rid of politics right now. Let's just drop all the belts. Because if we lose one belt, we might as well lose them all.
And then you have to pay sanctioning fees.
Exactly. And step aside. So, you know, it gets to a stage where you've got the biggest fight in world boxing. You're paying each governing body hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now you've got another guy who probably wants 7 figures to step aside. So we just got to be careful, because ultimately the aim of this fight has always been to be for the Undisputed Championship. When Anthony Joshua came into my office many years ago, that was always the dream. And we will do whatever we can to make sure that every belt in boxing is on the line in the Tyson Fury fight.
That's it.
Usyk ain't one of them either.
No. Usyk ain't on the list. He's a no-name. No one's interested and it doesn't make any money. So what would I want to fight him for? It's a small cruiserweight. A foreigner, don't speak good English, and nobody's really interested anyway. He's not saying anything I like. I want the big fights that people are interested in, and that ain't one of them.
What if he was to beat Joshua?
Still, it won't be a big fight. He's still a foreigner in a westernised world. The belts are back in the West, and they're going to stay there. And, you know, so whatever it sounds like, the heavyweight champion should be from Britain or America and nowhere else. That's it. You know what I can't believe? That AJ has gone and give Ukraine all the heavyweight belts back after all my hard work of relieving them. You big useless dosser. You've let a little steroid man come up from middleweight and set about you and take all your belts. But he's going to have to take a real British Lancaster bomber like me to go and relieve the useless little steadhead of the belts and get them back to Britain. You useless dossers. Honestly, bring them to me. The Gypsy King, bring them to me. And I'll put them into place. I'll relieve them of the belts again.